Hello, everyone. I'm Sven, and today I got my French friend up here again.
Hello, this is Guillaume.
And we want to talk about an important requirement with the CRA that has a cascading effect. So, Guillaume, what is the CRA for those who don't know?
Okay, so the CRA, the Cyber Resilience Act, it's a regulation that concerns every product that's going to be sold in Europe, both manufactured in Europe and both manufactured outside of Europe. So everybody is affected. If you're an OEM selling a product in Europe, distributing a product in Europe, basically that regulation says that you are responsible for the cybersecurity of that product after you sell it for a minimum of 5 years, well, after it's in the market. And this regulation has a few constraints that basically will elevate the level of cybersecurity of everything that is being sold in terms of electronic products and software in Europe. So it's pretty important. And I think that globally it's going to also elevate the play because, well, the world being global, companies who manufacture products for Europe usually use the same SKU for other regions as well. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing too. So, how does that play into this cascading effect that people should be considering with the CRA?
Oh, this one's my favorite. So basically, one of the requirements of the CRA is that if a vulnerability arises in a product, and I mean, it's going to happen all the time. They happen all the time. So you have to maintain a dynamic software bill of material of what you have inside your product. And you have to scan your vulnerabilities and to make sure that when one arises, you have to assess whether you are touched or not. If you are, you need to report that immediately to the NISA, the cybersecurity agency that takes care of Europe. Also, you need to notify your customers, you need to document, and you need to provide a fix to that vulnerability via software updates. And you need to notify your customer and to make that software update available to your customer. So let's say that your customer, again, you're manufacturing smart meters and your customer is a utility and they have deployed like hundreds of thousands or millions of smart meters. And it's very unlikely that they will choose to send somebody fixing every smart meter with a USB dongle.
Because that makes so much sense, and we all have the most time in the world.
Yeah, it's not the only use case, you know.
It's not practical, but
no, it's not practical. So basically, most of these devices have to implement an over-the-air firmware update mechanism.
Photo.
Yes, exactly. So that means that every single device needs to be able to contact a server and to get a firmware update over the air. But doing so, enabling this, you just increase the attack surface.
Which probably goes the opposite, where everything, you always want the smaller surface.
Yes, and it's even written in the CRA, you should minimize your attack surface. So by opening that possibility, you just increase that.
Another can of worms.
You open more attack path. So you need to, well, implement mitigations against those paths. And so it means that the cascade of consequences, that first you need to implement a secure boot into your device. Even though it can be a small microcontroller or a larger processor, you need to have something that boots securely the device and that roots into the hardware root of trust of the device.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably need a hardware root of trust too. You need that secure boot. And who says secure boot and firmware update also says firmware signing. So you also need to have inside your company, inside your firmware factory, a right process to sign everything you do, software, firmware, bootloader, and to host those signing keys in the proper infrastructure.
Which we'd hope they're HSM protected.
Yes.
I hope.
Instead of, well, you would be surprised how many customers don't do that and let the keys on the developer's laptop, for instance.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, just because those developers use, the tools provided by the silicon vendors, and those tools just provide freeware to sign, and the key is there, and it's easy, and it's convenient. But with the CRA, if you do so, you may do so, but you need to document it so that if something happens, your customers know exactly how you work, what happens, and how you're going to fix it.
Having like a chain of trust like that.
Exactly, yes. So it concerns your infrastructure as well. And when your device needs to connect to that firmware delivery server, of course, you want that connection to be
Over TLS, I'd hope.
Secure over mutual TLS. That's right. So that means that inside your device, you also need to have a unique identity, and better if it's a unique certificate issued by a private PKI.
Like your operational PKI, I'd hope.
Exactly. And that your device also has a certificate of the server so that it can trust that server it's connecting to. So basically, from a single requirement of making sure that the OEM must make available a firmware update for security issues for free, basically, it has this cascade of consequences from the root of trust, from the firmware update mechanism, from the secure bootloader, secure connection to
the device identity.
So basically, once you have that, basically you have everything. So you're ready to operate securely for all the rest and even the operations.
All right. Well, that's a lot to get to work. So let's get out there and get these devices protected then.
Yes, that's a good idea.
All right, guys. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.